do you have any like habits that you have on a daily basis that sort of help you perform or help you sort of get your sort of goals accomplished?
Is this in regards to um like my taekwondo training or
Could be
just
anything.
in
Like,
general?
is there anything that you do on a regular basis with your daily routine that just sort of helps you achieve whatever you need to achieve?
Um, my favorite one, actually, my only consistent one that I do are my showers.
Okay.
Those are my big ones. Actually, sorry, not my big one. That's perhaps my only consistent one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm I consider myself sort of a go with the flow, but adaptable
Yeah.
mentality. But I don't disregard um, consistent what's it called um, behavior building,
Mm-hmm.
behavior and habit building, right?
Absolutely.
I don't disregard that. It's just how I'm wired.
Yeah.
I'm a go with the flow but adapt type of person,
Yep.
right? So if at one point I don't necessarily feel like doing a particular thing, I'll look for something else to be productive in,
Yeah. For sure.
right? So let's say, for example, let's say this course that I'm in, the flexibility course. Let's say I don't want to study right now. Um, I'll work on content for my Instagram. If I
Yeah.
don't want to work on content for my Instagram, let's say I'll go downstairs and train. If I don't want to train, okay, maybe I'll work on my studies. But the one thing that is consistent for me is the showers, and that's a hot and cold showers.
Okay.
I do both, not twice a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I do hot and cold showers, but the reason why it's important for me is because I do a lot of reflecting in the
Okay.
shower.
That's good.
That's
Yeah.
when I do a lot of my reflecting. Um, and for me, as you probably know, like reflecting is a huge part of how I develop, how I make decisions,
Mm-hmm.
how I get in tune with my creative side.
Yep.
Um, I like I like sitting in silence,
Mm-hmm.
sort of sometimes not doing anything or like fidgeting with something,
Yeah.
right? That's when a lot of my creative work will happen. Like I'll just sit in front of my computer and let's say I'm looking at something and I'm just sitting there, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my creative work will happen at that point.
Okay.
Um, but a lot reflecting is a huge part of my day to day that helps me perform at a different level. Even when I'm even for training,
Mm-hmm.
um, I know you were asking about like how do I optimize on my training or some of my day to day stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes and ties back to how I reflect on it,
Okay.
right? So I'm huge on recording myself during training.
Okay.
That way I can look at it and reflect and see, okay, that didn't look so good. That didn't look right. I know that felt strong, but it didn't look strong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, or even when I'm teaching, sometimes I'll record myself teaching so I could review. Not
Mm-hmm.
all of it because I don't you don't have the time for that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have time to just sit for another 45 minutes
For
watching
sure.
yourself teach a class you just taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll sort of scrub through it and I'll just sort of take samples
Mm-hmm.
and just review and be like, okay, I don't like the way I approach that. Or if I'm teaching and I realize I sort of make a mental note and be like, okay, I just said something that I'm not sure connected the right way, or I'm not sure if I said it the right way.
Okay.
I'll look for that
Yeah.
and I'll review it. And I'll be like, okay, I should have said it this way. I should have done it this way instead.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, a lot of my reflecting happens in the shower, and that's my shower is the trigger
Mm-hmm.
for my reflecting period. The
Which
other
makes sense.
times,
Yeah.
yeah, the other times it's a little bit, sometimes a little bit more in a way deliberate,
Yep.
where I really get into thought and I'll sit there and I'll just reflect.
Yeah.
And what's odd is I'm not sure if it'll be good for me or not. I
Mm.
do want to try it, but when I reflect, I don't write.
Okay.
I just mentally reflect, and I think writing may help me, but it's not something I felt like I need to do. But
Yeah.
many people have told me that it like journaling,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Journaling might be really good for me. It's something I've tried, but it never stuck
Stuck
with.
with it. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but just even having those, those periods of thinking throughout the day, I think those are important, whether it's you just
Mhm.
reflecting or you just trying to solve a problem or try to be creative.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm very similar in that way, like, showering and stuff like that. You always have those deep thoughts. You have those crazy thoughts, like, maybe not even on, um, you know, maybe not even on the topic that you're trying to think about, whether it's like martial arts or something. Maybe it's just a totally unrelated topic, but I think those thoughts are very important.
Hmm.
For me, I think a lot on the treadmill, like especially those dreadful treadmill sessions that I do. The minute you get into like 2 hours on the treadmill, it's just you just start thinking, even though you may have, I do this thing called Zwift. It's like basically this virtual world. I don't know if you've ever, this is a totally different thing from you. This is so like cycling and running, they have this thing called Zwift. It's like a video game kind of. So like you can do races and stuff, and basically you wear like a shoe pod or your smart trainer connects to your phone. So that will be basically a virtual game, and it's like a virtual world. So like you'll see
I've
your avatar cycling and stuff like
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. So like there's only so much you can watch for 2 hours while
Yeah.
you're doing that, right? So like you kind of just start to wander and think. So I think a lot on the treadmill, especially for my long runs and stuff like that. But
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that when I used to run when my knee wasn't so bad,
mhm.
which I do sort of want to get it back into running. Um, but yeah, like it's so easy to get into that state,
Yeah,
right? Because it's a little bit it's mundane.
yeah, just repetitive.